Okay, we're rolling.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting, the Land Use Planning Public Works Committee, to order at 6 p.m. via Zoom. Roll call. Councilor Rodriguez is here. Councilor Paul is here. And Councilor Marshall is not here. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Any citizen comments? Hearing none. Informational items. I don't have any. Does anybody else have any informational items? That's no. Yep.
We have to approve minutes.
Yep, that's the next one, right? Yeah. So review and approval of prior minutes. So I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes, meeting minutes of February 7th of 2022.
Councilor Rodriguez seconds.
Discussion.
I just have one item on page 7 under Roman numeral 6, number 7. Status update regarding security and safety concerns regarding park on East Street. It should read Councilor Rodriguez stated that she plans to visit the park on East Street.
Oh, plans to visit. Okay, thank you.
Oh, I see it. And it stated that she planned to visit the state park. Okay, any other changes? So, so the motion would be to approve the regular minutes with corrections of February 7th, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Under old business, item number 1, discussion regarding Public Act 21-1, legalization of cannabis, marijuana retail stores, micro-cultivator. So we talked about this last month. I can't remember, Roxanne, what was the date that for this? It would have to be.
We would have to have it, the question to the clerk's office by August.
August, that's right. That's what it was.
The end of August. Well, it's really the first week of September, but if we try for the end of August, that way we'll make sure we don't miss the date.
Gotcha. So is there any discussion on this? I know I've done a little more reading. Anybody else have?
Yes, but I think we might want to get it a little bit earlier because then you need to
Sure.
give the residents time for that petition, don't you think? To get the
Well,
signature.
I think what the land use committee discussed in the past, and Chairman Dombrowski can chime in on this, is, you know, if the town council just decides to put the question on the November ballot, we don't need a
Right.
petition from the
Right.
citizen.
And again, I'm going to say the same thing. I was going to ask Chairman Dombrowski if you know, the more I'm reading this, I mean, is this the way I read it is you don't have to have that if you don't have that 10%. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, I was looking at the law again today.
Yeah.
If you get the 10%, if you get a petition that's of 10% to put it on referendum, then you
Right.
have to put it on referendum. If the council decides to put it on the ballot itself, we don't need that 10%. We can just
Okay.
choose to put it on ourselves.
So my question is we don't have that petition, right?
Right, but we as the council don't need that petition to act on it, to put it on the referendum.
Correct. And so I guess my question, says I've been reading all through this, is I mean, do we want to put this on? Do we want to recommend this to do that? I guess is my question. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but
I thought we were waiting for planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning did their part, which was to put a moratorium in place. That's
Right,
done.
right. We said that last month's meeting, that moratorium we have.
Right.
But last month, it was mentioned that we wanted to, in case planning and zoning came up with any regulations. Does anybody
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, but I don't think that they're gonna have regulations, and Juliet, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's gonna be any regulations in place prior to putting it on the referendum.
No,
Okay, so,
And the regulations would only be either to, if to permit it or it regulate it within areas, not prohibit it.
yeah, whatever they decided, you'd have to come up with some supplemental regs and decide
Right,
what use it would fall under and where that use would be allowed. I mean, it would have to fall under retail, so wherever retail was allowed.
right.
but it also
So-
depends on what the voters say, because they could say
Well,
no.
Well, if
Right.
the voters say no, then there's no regulations required, but the
Right.
statute doesn't say that once the moratorium is in place by planning and zoning, that planning and zoning can then on their own choose to not allow it, period. It has to go to referendum. That's the way I read the statute. So planning can't sit there and then turn around, or zoning can't turn around and then add to the regulations to say marijuana dispensaries facilities are not allowed in any district within town. They have to have regulations to state whether or not it was permitted, where it would be permitted.
Yeah, that's how I
And how to
remember the
regulate.
statute too, yeah. I think planning and zoning wanted to hear what the
What the-
people thought, and if the people seem to want it, then we'll write regulations.
Right, that's kind
Right.
of what I thought too, but I guess I'm just still hung up on, on really what the language, should be, and I kind of said that last month too. Was,
mean,
how do you
yeah,
present? How do
well,
you
the
present?
the statute allows, and it has specific 3 different ways you can
Right.
word it. One is,
So, and which one is the right one, I guess, is, you know.
I think in my opinion, the clearest is say, should it be allowed?
Yeah.
Number one,
Yeah,
that's what we talked about last month.
yeah, I think you're
We
right,
agreed
because
on
I
one.
keep going back to that same one too, so.
right,
It's
that's the
the
clear,
easiest,
right, it's
most
the
clear
clearest,
statement.
right, it's the most clear statement, it's the easiest to go forward with, to state that there's nothing wishy-washy in the language anywhere, it's just a clear,
Right.
should it be allowed?
Right. And it's just a yes and no at that point, really.
Correct. I strongly dislike referendum questions that in order to get a approval, you have to actually have the referendum fail. I think
Yeah.
that confuses the voters when you do it
Right.
that way.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
You don't want someone voting the wrong way and say, but I meant to vote the other way. So number one seemed the clearest.
Yeah.
Just to mention, before this came over to admin, to land use, admin had discussed it. And they were discussing the importance to sort of get information out to the residents prior to the referendum vote so that people knew what it entailed. So I don't know if that's something that you guys want to talk about on land use.
Well, that's a good point.
Because people, you might put a question out there, but if they don't really understand what they're voting for, they might not vote. They might say, well, if I knew that's what it meant, I would have voted a different way.
So maybe having, what was it that finance had? It was like an informational meeting.
Right.
So we could have a couple of those.
Not absolutely opposed to that.
Well, would that go through land use or who does that go through, or town council?
What, have an informational meeting?
Mm-hmm.
it's whoever wants to have it. We don't. We just want to hear what the public say at referendum. And then we'll go from there. Then we might have an informational, or we might have a meeting to talk about regulations, but I think the first, you're saying you think you need an informational meeting before you go to a referendum to make sure that
Yes.
everybody understands the issue? Then
Right.
it's you guys need to do it,
Land use?
or the
Well,
town
and
council.
it doesn't even really need to be an informational meeting. It might just be putting some facts together that could be put on, say, the town's website and, accompanying, a referendum will be held on this question, and these are some facts so that people understand what they're voting on.
Yeah, but who's putting
were-
together those facts?
Well, yeah, see,
Not
that's what I
everybody
was.
looks at the town website. That's
Because
the
you're
problem.
just trying to basically educate. Right. I would agree with something like that, because all you're doing is saying, look, this is why this is on the referendum. I mean, you're maybe for the people that don't understand what's coming down the pike type of thing.
Right. So you folks as land use committee, you might want to work on putting together like an informational fact sheet based on what state statute says.
And run that by an attorney,
Yeah.
Right.
because that can't be,
It can't be leaning one way or the other. It has to
right, it's gotta be really neutral, and
Right.
that's hard to do.
Right.
Weigh their decision, you're just looking to give them facts.
Hmm.
But really, I mean, I'm looking, when I read through things like Mr. Cherry said and things like that. I mean, that's basically what this is.
Yeah, I mean, we had a little informational session because it came up during
Right.
planning and zoning when we decided to have a moratorium. So there was discussion about it, pretty one-sided, but there was discussion and we've given opinions. But if you wanted to have like a town meeting so everybody can ask questions or talk it out before they go to a referendum, then somebody just needs to set that up and have an attorney present to answer questions, I guess.
But when they did that conversation at planning and zoning, were there any people in attendance from the public?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And they wrote letters,
About how many?
a handful. It seems like the same crew that typically comments.
Okay. Counselor Dombrowski, what do you think?
Well, I think it's something we should put to referendum. But the question of, real reality is until we move it through the council, right? We wouldn't
Right.
have any we wouldn't, until the council decides to put, the full council decides to put that on the referendum ballot, we wouldn't be having a public session until that point.
Okay,
In other
So-
words, we're here to recommend.
Right.
Our
Don't,
recommendation to the council is the way
Right.
I see it.
don't think that, I'm not gonna ask you guys to do some of the legwork to help put the informational stuff together, but it's gonna be done by the informational assessment is gonna be done by the town council, not by land use.
okay, that's what I was asking prior.
Right. Because ultimately you're making the recommendation one way or the other. And then once it gets through admin, finance it has to pull in because it is, there is revenue involved if we do allow it. So we'd have to have input from finance. So pretty much everybody on the council will have seen or moved the recommendation forward before it gets to the council. And at that point, all basically everybody on the council is going to have to help put together the informational package. Ultimately, I think it'll probably end up being me putting the presentation.
No, we'll help you.
I know that. I only kid, but yeah, it's going to be it'll be the council that puts the informational system together.
Okay, so from land use, then it goes to finance, is that what you said?
Well, because there is money involved,
Uh-huh.
if it's passed, based upon the tax levy that the town can put on of 3%, what I think it's 3.5%, then that's why I think financing would also be involved in the discussion as well.
Okay, so we're in March, April, finance, town council. Okay, so that only gives us 2 months to play with. If you start counting the different committees.
Yeah,
Right,
and
well, I don't-
there's no reason why we can't have special meetings as well, so.
Okay. That's
Well,
why I
and-
get really nervous when the deadlines are so close.
The previous admin committee, I don't know, it's a new admin committee, but, you know, they felt as though, you know, they passed it off to land use. They didn't think that they needed to discuss it any further. But as part of their discussion, it was the importance that the residents be educated on what this law means.
Well, then I would go with, you know, Chairman, you know, Dabrowski. I mean, right, we're, you know, recommending that for the referendum that we should use the language. And I think that we're kind of in agreement that number one should be the language. And then that, you know, at that point, that would be our recommendation to the council. And that would then go to finance and then to the council, which the council would, like you said, put that together and talk about it in that aspect. Is that correct?
Correct.
Any other comments? Councilor Rodriguez? I mean, do you think that we could do? So really, it would just be the motion to put forth that we would recommend, right? We would have to make that a motion, correct?
Correct.
Right.
I had that motion written down last month.
To put forth that language. Whoops, I just lost it.
Oh, okay, here we go. Would you like me to do it now? Make the
You know what?
motion.
Yeah, I'm in for one.
I move that the November 8th, 2022 election include the following question on the ballot. Shall the sale of recreational marijuana be allowed in Ledyard?
I'll second that. All in favor?
No discussion.
I'm sorry, discussion? Or any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Sorry, I'm just getting myself back. Give me 1 second here. Just.
Okay, so Chairman Dabrowski, so now it goes to finance?
Yeah, we ask finance and that, and also ask admin if they want to take another look at it as well.
Okay,
I mean, yeah, I mean, I should have said that before, but sorry. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. It's been a long day. So we'll move on to item number 2 on the agenda.
one more thing, I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead.
So the LLHD marijuana presentation that was sent to us, that will be sent on to admin and finance?
Whatever you have received, the
That
full
all
council
goes,
has.
right?
Great, thank you.
What one gets, you all get.
Okay, thank you.
So moving on to item number 2, discussion of possible action to periodically review, I can't talk today, review the list of town-owned property and update accordingly for the assignment of administrative control.
Okay. Do you all have your copy?
I will in a minute. There we go. Okay.
This one is basically 4, that's it.
Say that again. I missed that.
This is basically only 4 streets that we're dealing with today.
Okay. Yep.
The first one is Chidley Way, 1 Chidley Way, 1.75 acres. It's open space, and for that I recommended Conservation Commission. And then you have 6 Chidley Way, and that one is
Vacant.
quarter water, like wetlands. Open space, and that one I recommended to Conservation Commission. And then there's a third one with quite a bit of land, 3.71 acres, 9 Chidley Way, subdivision open space. And that one I also put in with admin control to Conservation Commission. But then I thought, why is there so much land for open space? And I spoke to Mike Cherry. He said he vaguely remembers something going on with that property, that because of the Corps of Engineers said the property, some of the property was filled in, some of the wetlands property was filled in. So I guess there was a fine, and they had asked, he thinks, for them to donate additional land. Does that make any sense to you, Juliet? Does it? No. He said there is a record somewhere. So I'm going to need to dig that up. But that was my only question that I had, is why was there so much donated to the subdivision open space?
What were the lots?
Yeah.
Number 1, number 6, number 9. If you look at number 6, you're going to see water on that property. If you look at number 1, it's on the corner of Chidley Way and, oh, what's that street? Spicer Hill? Is it Spicer Hill?
So,
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then when you go to 9 Chidley Way,
Yeah.
it's a good chunk of land. It's 3.71 acres. It's a good sized lot.
I don't see it. Yeah, this is crazy.
I looked at GIS today and it's all there.
It's very odd, open space. It's not really how
Right.
open space is done.
So when I spoke to Mike Cherry, he said we'd have to look at the report, but he remembers something about the Corps of Engineers and with property on Chidley Way that was filled, that they had filled the wetlands with soil or something. And so I guess there was a fine, and then they were asked to donate additional lot.
That could be. I'll look up the subdivision.
Okay, I'm going to, but regardless, that explains why there's 3 properties for open space for Chidley Way. Now, number 6 you couldn't use anyway, but 1 and 9. So I for description for all 3, I put open space, admin control to Conservation Commission.
oh, here we go.
Do you see it?
So it's over here. And why was there so much open space?
This is Mike's recollection.
Yeah, I remember something about that when it happened.
It's a little,
There was something funky going on where they filled in wetlands and
Right, because usually you don't have this much
right.
Right.
open space for a development.
right. But I remember there was something with where Pete Gardner got in trouble because they filled in some wetlands and then the
Right,
Army Corps of Engineers got involved.
Gotcha.
so there was a fine paid and additional, and to make up for what had occurred, they had asked for additional land to be donated.
Right.
Because 9 Chidley Way looks like it's a good lot for a house.
So it's just open.
Yeah,
There's
there's
no road on
nothing there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that explains my questions for 3 properties on that one street, 3 open space lots. Do you want me to continue or wait for Juliet? Counselor Paul?
No, I mean, I agree with, I mean, I would, we can find out more, but yeah, so far I think that's. I
I'll
would
look
agree.
at it while you're talking.
Okay,
Right, I mean, if it's just open space and, obviously, that should go to conservation.
right.
I mean, I can even check with, I can check with the Conservation Commission too and see what their thoughts if you want.
Yeah, but I think that if it's was deeded as open space,
Then it goes to them, right?
right?
Yeah.
Well,
that's
it
what I
doesn't
thought.
have to go to them, but I
Well,
mean,
yeah, but I thought
I would
that's-
recommend it.
Right, I
Right.
thought that's
This-
pretty much, unless there's like any,
It says there's conservation easements on it.
yeah, so
Yeah,
then,
okay.
so, all right, so, hey, so if there's conservation easements, why wouldn't the rest of it be? Would there be a reason for that?
I don't know, this is one of those wonderful files that have conveyance forms that are sitting here filled out and signed, but I don't know if it was conveyed, if it wasn't conveyed. This is unusual. So it'll take a while.
So it could have been that where that was in the original plan, there was the easement for the Conservation Commission, and then with what happened, then that was never. Is that kind of the gist of it? Was never kind of put into an administrative control because of that reason?
Well, we haven't updated the list since 2017, so we may have taken the property after that and it just never got assigned.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm saying. That's the.
Right.
Okay, so we'll come back to that one.
Well, I mean, we can get more information on it, but as far
Yeah.
as, in my opinion, if that's I agree that all 3 lots should go to Conservation Commission for admin control. So,
Yeah, that's what I
right.
put down.
And they're already in the list to your point, in GIS listed as being transferred to the town. So,
Yeah,
So
so I
that's how
would
I-
happen to agree.
That's how I listed it.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, the next one's pretty easy, 9 Chriswood Trace, 4.88 acres. When I looked at that on the GIS, 3/4 of that is mostly water. So that's usually what gets donated when you do a subdivision. So the admin control for that, I put Conservation Commission,
That was nine.
3/4 water. Um, 35 Chriswood Trace is 1.16 acres. That one looks like open space. And I put a Conservation Commission. Unless, and this one's an old one, so I'm not sure about this one. It was before my time.
3.5 miles. Take the ramp on the right to I-95 north toward Providence.
And then when you look at 57 Chriswood Trace, that is a big chunk of land, 23.31 acres. This one's interesting. Mike and I looked at this one for a while. It's open space, but it has water.
Somebody want to mute that person? There's a phone call that's making noise. I don't know who's got control there. Gary, you?
No, not me.
Hey, Gary, this is Tom Marshall.
Oh,
Oh.
hey, John.
Council Marshall.
Hey, Gary, I'm on the road. That background noise might be me. I
It
got
is.
a loaner truck in the shop that doesn't have Bluetooth in it, so I'm on my phone.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
Uh,
continuing on, 57 Chriswood Trace, 23.31 acres. It has water and open space, and to the left of the property, there's power lines. It's a huge strip of land. So that one I put admin control to Conservation Commission.
Oh, here we go. Now I see it.
57 Chriswood Trace.
I apologize. I'm trying to follow along with my map and this thing is just not letting me in. Here we go. Okay. Yep. I got it now. Oh yeah. Yep. Okay. So that's what that is. Yeah. I would agree with you.
Okay, so continuing on, Coachman Pike,
Yep.
30. Now it gets interesting. 2.21 acres of land. Use and description, there's nothing there. And shouldn't it read the town of Ledyard?
It should
It's
be Town of Ledyard, yes.
Okay, and then partial water and open space. And for admin control, I put Conservation Commission.
What's right behind it? What is that?
It's
Oh, Mashantucket.
Mashantucket property. It's a good chunk behind it.
There's so many of these open space parcels for these subdivisions. that You
Yes,
could sneak in a, if you're trying to get your affordable housing numbers up, you could sneak in a house on half of these, but
that's
put them on the tax rolls again.
one thing we should go back and look at for these.
But you may not be able to, because if it was transferred as a subdivision application,
You could go back and revise the subdivision application and call it fee in lieu of. So when you sold the lot to somebody, you take that money and put it in the open space fund.
yeah, but but these lots have already been transferred over. So you may not be able to without changing the deed restriction. That's where I was going.
Oh, yeah.
So-
If there are deed restrictions, but the town can,
Yeah.
sell the property as long as the commission was on board with the money being, or a portion of the money being
No.
put back into the fee in lieu of.
Right, but don't disagree, but most of the properties that we know the developers give us is the worst
Right.
piece of properties to develop that you can't put anything on.
Right.
Well, we'll just let Mark Cohen figure it out because he seems to be able to develop anything.
So, continuing on, 48 Coachman Pike, 3.51 acres, has water, open space, and I put that with Conservation Commission.
Take the ramp on the right to I-95 north towards Providence.
Yeah.
And then the last one
Oh,
is
big.
Colonel Ledyard Highway, and there's many, and this is where it starts to get very interesting. Okay, 423 Colonel Ledyard Highway is, and it's labeled sub open space. My question is this used for anything?
What do you mean?
It's just for the town. Was the town planning on using this for anything or just leaving it as a sub-open space? And then that would go to Conservation Commission if they're not going to use it for anything.
I don't even see that address in here.
It's on the map.
It's not listed.
Yeah, why am I not finding that?
It's not.
Somehow I saw it. Maybe if you do,
I'm gonna go to 422 and see what's next to it. 428. Oh, that's Quakertown Meadows. That's
Oh,
that's
okay, never mind.
that's
never
open
mind.
space subdivision.
Yep,
stuff.
Okay,
yep.
we're good. Open Space Conservation Commission.
Oh, that's over here.
On the right to I-95
794 is 0.97 acres. That's Open Space Conservation Commission. 881 Colonel Ledyard Highway, 44.12 acres. That's the town garage. Admin controls Mayor Public Works. 889 Colonel Ledyard Highway is 49.61 acres. That's the town garage. Mayor Public Works, and it's the highway garage dump site. 1025 is 102.16 acres. That's the Clark Farm. The question I have here, it's listed as town council, but don't we want to put that instead for Mayor Public Works?
No,
Who said? Chairman Dombrowski?
yeah, that's always been under the town council because that way we keep control of it.
Is that where the Tri-Town Trail?
That's part of where that's the Clark Farm, so that's the southern portion of the Tri-Town Trail where they're coming out right now, yes. But it's also the town is leasing the property for farming use as well.
Okay, so that stays with town council.
Yeah.
Okay. 1087 Colonel Ledyard Highway, 42.80 acres. Municipal MDL. And that's under town council.
That's the old State Farm property, which is now the north part
It's
of the
old what?
Tri-Town Trail.
It's old what property?
The old State Farm. It's right on the Preston line as you're going up 117. Because it's right across from Preston Plains Park. That's where when you cross the street to get onto the north end of the Preston of the Tri-Town Trail.
Okay,
And that
Okay.
was the last discussion we had, the town had on that property with potential use for
The fair, right?
the fair, correct?
okay,
And for that reason, I'd like to keep that on the town council. In
Okay.
case that ever gets revisited.
okay. So we'll leave that there. Thank you, because I was going to ask a question, but you answered it. 391 Colonel Ledyard Highway. Okay, I know what this is. 0.11 acres. The note here is future road widening.
Really?
So should the whole parcel, should it be merged into the road right away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would go with Public Works then.
Mhm.
Is that what happened in that bizarre piece right next to it?
Yes.
Oh, boy. That
So
seems,
who-
no, I don't know if this is right or not. That seems to be part of the property, not, I mean, I don't, why do you need that much for road widening there?
It was something that got deeded over for the town right away. I
Mhm.
don't disagree that it's more than probably what is needed, but that's what was deeded over.
Is it drainage?
Yes,
It is drainage?
I believe it is.
We should find that out because that's way too big for a road widening and should be given back to the parcel so their structures aren't non-conforming.
Okay, so that one we'll put a hold on and I'll look into that. Okay, so let's,
Doesn't look like drainage. It looks like the dude's driveway.
I'll check into that one and we'll come back to that. 640 Colonel Ledyard Highway, 26.89 acres. I don't remember this one, but I have a note saying wetlands and then a question mark. And that would go to Conservation Commission. Can anyone pull up 640 Colonel Ledyard Highway?
There, hold on here, 640, that's over here.
Yeah, it's a large piece.
Does it have wetlands on it?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yep.
there's a river coming through or
does.
stream or something.
okay. There were so many properties I was looking at, I can't remember. That's one thing I couldn't remember. Okay, so Conservation Commission. Oh, here's one. 712R Colonel Ledyard Highway, 0.12 acres, unbuildable. I could not find it on the map. Does anyone else, can anyone else see it?
No, I have it pulled in. It just gives me A, 712A.
Oh, is this right at the intersection?
I don't know. I have a question saying, what is this?
That's, what's that little cul-de-sac by the library? To go into the library, that's got a name, right? No, anyone?
Ray Holdridge.
Um,
That's
Yes,
the Ray
Holdridge
Holdridge
Circle,
that's
right.
what it
Okay.
is.
Circle.
So is that what it is?
It's just that when they realigned the road, there was this, lot sort of remaining.
Oh, so that's what that is? That's just from when the road used to go between the church and the.
Between the church and the, yeah.
and
Yeah,
the-
it's the old road, I guess, bed or so, I don't know, but it's, nothing could ever go there, although, I don't know, the parcel across the street is also unbuildable, but about to be built on. So I'm not sure.
I think you can build on that, right?
So where do we put this?
I don't even know if it really exists like that anymore, because this map isn't updated, and that's not, obviously, that isn't right, what's being shown. So I'd have to look at I don't even know what happened there.
Okay, so,
I'd have to go back in time to figure out if they filed anything or filed maps, but maybe wait till the GIS guy gets the maps a little farther along.
okay, so this one is also have to look into. So we're gonna skip that one and come back to it another time. 720 Colonel Ledyard Highway, 0.04 acres. Oh, I know what this is. It's a monument. It's a tiny, it's right by the library. That's where the monument is.
How is that a lot? Why
I
is it a
don't
lot?
know. Why do we have separate parcels for all these little tiny things?
Because they made it up as they went along in the years past. We're just trying to fix it.
This is, oh,
That's just with the library, whoever owns the rest of this.
Chairman Dabrowski, what do you have any ideas? Or should we leave this?
Leave this.
Okay, let's talk about it later. So that's 3 properties.
The only thing I think is like the library doesn't want to maintain it.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. It's probably they don't wanna.
The library doesn't want to have to maintain it.
Well, they could have an agreement, but it would be cleaner to just have that part of their parcel, wouldn't it? Again, you created a
Definitely
parcel
wouldn't
that
be
creates a nonconformity of the lot around it, so I would
Yeah, but
challenge that that's legal.
it's just the war monument, Juliet. It doesn't, nobody's gonna build anything on it. It's
Right.
just got.
No, I get that, obviously, but
Right.
if somebody created parcel lines there and, filed a map, that
Because there used to be a road between them.
wouldn't be
Oh,
legal.
that was a,
Remember the road used to go?
Yep.
So when the state moved Colonel Ledyard Highway in 117, it screwed up that whole area.
okay, so who maintains that monument area?
Public Works.
Okay, so we're gonna leave that with Public Works.
It is interesting to see that though, how that,
I'm gonna say Mayor, Public Works,
There you go. Well, just put the mayor.
Mayor.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna leave that one alone. Okay. Next one, 741 Colonel Ledyard Highway, 2.36 acres, Town Hall Annex, Police. I have that as Mayor, Public Works.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, this one I need help with.
Yeah.
1094 Colonel Ledyard Highway, 0.71 acres. What is this? Is this the Tri-Town Trail part of that? It's in the town of Preston. And why do we have it on our list?
Part of it is in Preston and part of it is in Ledyard.
Right. Part of the old state, that's part of the old state farm.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with, does it have anything to do with the Tri-Town Trail?
No.
Okay. So who maintains that? I mean, who's the admin control for that one then?
Put it to the council, though it goes with the other. The adjacent property.
Yeah, what's happening on the other side in Preston? Is it somebody's house lot or,
Well, the house lot next to it,
but what is it a part of?
the state farm, the old state farm.
So
On
in
one
Preston,
seventeen. But it happens to cross over the Preston line.
so on the Preston side is some vacant lot?
Yeah, it's a big vacant lot.
Okay.
So it's listed here as G Town of Preston. Do we leave it that way or Town of Ledyard?
No, just leave it that way.
Okay. The last one for the page, 889R Colonel Ledyard Highway, 49.61 acres. Highway garage dump. I put that as Mayor Public Works.
Yep.
Okay, so there's only two things for me to look at. And we'll come back to those next month. And that's my report. Thank you all for your help. I appreciate it.
Give me a second, just get back out of what I was in. All right, hey, thank you. We're going to move on then to number 3, if there's no more discussion on that. And that is continued discussion regarding the progress of enforcing regulations to address blight issues. Do we have any report?
Did Mike give you one?
I
No.
spoke to Mike today and he said there's no blight report this month. Nothing really has changed. And he said he's supposed to give a report quarterly.
Okay,
So he's gonna be leaving shortly from the position and we will again be without a formal,
When is he leaving?
possibly as early as next week. So we have help from the COG for basic zoning and wetlands, but I don't know. So you probably won't be getting a report for a while,
gotcha.
unless you get some staff.
Yeah, I was just curious to see if anything of these old ones have been closed out or anything.
No, he's nice. So I get lots of chances.
All right, so we'll leave that on the agenda to continue our discussion. Any other comments or discussion on this? So we'll move on to item number 4, status update regarding security and safety concerns regarding Park on East Street. I haven't heard anything. My last conversation, I don't know if I said this last month. My last conversation with the chief was that he reached out to the homeowners there and just has I don't know, just like a courtesy to see how everything was going. I know that right now it's, in the winter time, there's not a lot of activity. And I just thought that him reaching out to them, stating that, it's still on his radar. They're patrolling, they're going to be, attentive, is just a nice way to kind of, I guess put them at ease a little bit because of the problems there, but I haven't heard anything else. And the chief did say that was a good idea, and that he would probably himself or somebody would reach out. So we'll leave that on the agenda, and we'll continue to check on that. Any other discussion or concerns regarding that? And we'll move on to item number 5, the Clark Farm property, potential future use of the 101.8 acres at 1025 Colonel Ledyard Highway. Is there any discussion on that? We're going to just keep that on the agenda. Moving forward, there isn't. Is there any, item number 6, is there any other old business proper to come before the committee? Hearing none. Under new business, item number 1, any other old business proper to come before the committee? Discussion of Founders Preserve property relative to residents' suggestion to subdivide the property to create an approximately 20-acre parcel suitable for outdoor entertainment. Do we have any discussion on that?
I don't know. I might, go ahead, Gary.
I was just saying, I don't see that. I mean, I looked at the map today and I was under the understanding that this was going to the Avalonia Land Conservatory. So, which makes absolute sense. I don't see how you could incorporate that land from what I see. That's my opinion.
And I'll echo that. This would already go on to town meeting and approve to transfer the property to Avalonia. And if you look at the map, there is really no way that's not topographically challenging that you could parcel out 20 acres. That property is steeply sloped.
Yeah.
And I know where Mr. Treaster is coming from. He thinks that we should take 20 acres of this property and give it to the Ledyard Fair Association for them to use, basically. But there is problems, in my opinion. Like I said, topographically, the lot is very challenging to do that with. Number 2, there's no easy way to get 2 ways of egress and ingress onto the property to support a large event activity going on there. And besides the fact that we're already under contract to give it to something else, it kind of defeats the purpose.
But to me, I think it makes sense. And regarding the Ledyard Fair, and look, I am a huge fan of the Ledyard Fair growing up here, but there's the Ledyard Fair needs infrastructure and the ability to have infrastructure, and that's, you just can't take a piece of land and set up too. So I guess to echo you, that's why I would never recommend this for something like that. To me, it just doesn't make sense, and it belongs to Avalonia. To me, it makes sense to go to Avalonia.
Right.
I concur.
And the
Gary,
other
can
part is,
you-
go ahead, John.
I don't know if I'm muted or not. You're looking at the map. I agree with what Kevin's saying. That land is best suited for exactly what it's doing right now. Absolutely nothing. Best left is open space. You really can't develop it. Cost a fortune to flatten that place out.
Oh, absolutely.
Better off just leaving it alone.
Right.
Right. 'Cause I mean, for a fair, you got to, the buildings, the water, the septics. I mean, there's a lot you can't do. Like Council John said, you just can't. It's just, that would be astronomical. So I recommend that we were, that stay, with Avalonia, going to Avalonia, and it's kind of a moot point for us at this point.
One of the other things I'll say is that the Fair Association tried looking at a different private parcel up the road at, I think it was 85 Colonel Ledyard Highway.
Yeah,
Or no, Gallop Hill Road, I take that back. And they ran into the same issues there. No, we don't know the two ways of egress and ingress onto the property. And then when the neighbors found out that that's what they were trying to do, they were vehemently opposed. So you'd be creating the same thing here
mm,
to carve out 20 acres somewhere, and the only place you could even think about it is right at the front end of the property, right next to the neighbors, and I know they're not gonna like that.
yep. Oh, like I said, I concur, and I, you know, and I truly appreciate Mr. Treaster's comments, because I'm, you know, I'm pro the fair. I love the fair, and I see what he would like to do, and I really appreciate that. I just don't feel that this is obviously the right fit. So I concur with everybody's discussion tonight, and feel that this is just not the right piece of property to try to attempt that with, and agree it should stay with Avalonia. So do we have any other further discussion on that? This is something I think that we should, you know, we kind of figure that one out.
Yeah, I think we're all set, Gary.
All right.
Do
So,
you think we should make a motion to reject?
Yeah, that
Just
was
to
gonna
put
be
it on the
my-
record.
so we would make a motion to remove that off the,
No, I just make a motion to, in the positive, to entertain Mr. Treese's recommendation and then vote on that, just to formally end it.
right. So I'll make a motion. How do we want to
Do
do
you want
that?
to consider Mr. Treaster's suggestion to provide a parcel for entertainment venues at the Founder's Preserve?
Yeah, so that would be the motion, right? To consider, right?
Right, motion to consider Mr. Treaster's proposal to subdivide Founder's Preserve to create
Entertainment
entertainment
venue,
Location.
location,
location.
So moved.
second,
Second.
discussion.
Bad idea.
I concur. So all in favor? Hearing none,
Opposed?
all opposed?
Aye
Aye.
or nay.
Okay, motion fails. All right, and last on the agenda tonight, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn. Counselor Rodriguez.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Counselor Marshall. All in favor of that? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Everybody have a great night.